All right. We'll see if that's working. It says it's preparing to start the live meeting. I'm just going to do a little jiggle, jiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And it looks like we are live. Awesome. Yay. Oh, hey.
I got a notification that you were live.
Thank you for subscribing and ringing the bell, Monique. I appreciate that. Welcome to Not Friday Night, and also happy Not Tuesday. So if you were wondering where my Tuesday vlog was this week, it was intentionally delayed by a day because I have a collab with Monique that we have been talking about for a while. She's got some things that are dropping today, and she was helping me by allowing me to unveil all of those good things right here on my channel. However, the collab that we had, it was originally including, can't talk, words hard. But the collab that we had was originally, it was a recorded conversation, but technical difficulties made that video a little more difficult to edit than I would have normally done. So we decided, you know what? It's okay. We're just going to do this as a 1 hour live. We're going to come on. We're going to talk about the things. If we get through everything before the hour's up, we'll be done. But I don't think it's going to take us any longer than an hour. So you get us on a Wednesday night. So you're welcome.
Fun. Yeah. So I can't tell who's on or anything because I'm doing the Zoom. So yeah, if you got questions.
I have got the chat up. I can see all of the questions. I can see all of the things. And at some point, there might be some images shared of some things. I will work on the technical side of the house trying to get that done. So this is mostly just a little discussion to share some of the news at Open Gate Quilts and for us to ask Monique some burning questions. I've got a couple right up my very short sleeve, so I have to have a short list of questions. But for those of you that don't know who Monique is, let me introduce the one and only Monique Jacobs. Monique is the face, the quilter, the awesome Wonder Woman behind all things Open Gate Quilts. And I say Wonder Woman because she is not just a box curator. This woman does a lot of stuff. She does patterns, she designs fabric, she curates a box, she has a quilt shop, and I don't know what else to say. I feel like there's, dog mom, ankle issues, like all of the things, right? Like you have been doing a ton of stuff. You have your hand in so many pots. So why don't we kick it off right now with just ripping the Band-Aid. Monique, what have you been up to this year?
This has been a busy year. So, well, thank you for having me, first of all, Becca. I'm so excited to be here. The biggest thing, and I'm so excited about this, is my fabric line Christmas Night is coming to shops this month. And we talked quite a bit about the block of the month that's coming up. So we'll get into that in length on that, because that's the big announcement today is we're doing a tutorial. I'm doing a tutorial and a block of the month for starting in August. Kits are available on my website to pre-order, and I will be selling. They're selling now, and they'll be sending out in July. I just heard, which I was a little disappointed in, but it is the way it is these days, is the fabric will not be shipping to shops till July.
Oh,
I know. Yeah. So hopefully, everybody cross their fingers that we'll get it at the beginning of July so that we can get kits out. But we don't start our block of the month until August. I think it's I can't remember the date. I'll have to look that up, but it's the 15th, I believe. And it's on my website. It's on, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have a little ad or a little promotion on it, and that'll have the dates on it too. So those are coming, that's coming up. So hopefully the fabric will get there. Even if it comes at the end, we'll be good. So you will get it. But this is the quilt. That's the block of the month. The fabric I designed is obviously a Christmas line. It's called Christmas Night. And we talked about previously how I design patterns and how I design the fabric. And this line has got a lot of trees in it. So it was really inspiring for me with the trees to be able to do a tree quilt. And I thought this would be a perfect block of the month because it has quite a few different techniques. And in the tutorials, I will be showing the different techniques on each one. There's applique, there's paper piecing, there's the checkerboard, there's flip corners. And then if you notice on the black and green quilt, there's mitered corners. And then on the red quilt, it's just a little different. I kind of pieced the sides so that it would continue that one outside border on it. So it has a little different look to it. And I'm going to show both. So you can decide whether you want to do the mitered corners or do that little different traditional piecing. And really, I know a lot of people are like, oh no, mitered corners. I have a really cool technique on doing it that's super easy and that you'll be like, oh, mitered corners, no problem. So that's the block of the month.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I am kind of really excited about that. And also, before we go any further, you're talking about your mitered corners technique. I got to tell you, I have never done a mitered border until I did that project you had with the dusk to dawn batik fabric around this time last year. And
Yeah.
spoiler alert, that was done just this past February. I had that in a little kit bag on my shelf forever. I knew I wanted to do it, but I wasn't quite sure if I was ready to tackle it yet. So it kind of sat back there. But when I did it, those mitered borders were not as difficult as I thought they were. I was so intimidated by it, but they add a lot to a nice border, especially when you've got a stripe as a border. And
Absolutely.
It's not that hard to do.
No. And that's the thing they look so intimidating, but they're really not difficult. And it seems to elevate the quilt just one more level. And that, especially when you do have the stripe or something that has that continuous around it, like frames that quilt. So now you've got a real frame that looks beautiful. I love mitered corners and I also love stripes. And you'll see with every fabric line, just about every fabric line, except this, of course, I was going to say except Batiks, but this last one had a stripe. But I like to put the stripes in. And the reason is that you can do so much with it. You don't just have to use it for borders. You can use it for sashing. You can piece it in the quilt that gives it a totally different look. So I'm always looking for different ways to use stripes. And I think they just add a lot to a quilt. So I will always have some kind of border stripe in my lines so that I can use them in different ways and add that mitered corners. So
sure. We got a couple questions for you in the chat. In the chat, there's actually 3 that I'll read off. The first one is from Mary, the Crafty Panda. She said, it will look be similar. I guess she's asking, will this be similar to a beginner's quilt course of sorts?
It's not really a beginner. It's more like an advanced beginner, but because I'm doing the tutorials, an advanced beginner can do it because I'm going to show the different techniques and explain how to do it. And I opted, instead of doing a live for my tutorials, I opted to do it with actual video YouTube tutorials. And because then I can put in, okay, look at this. You know, when you're live, sometimes you forget to add those things in, and you can add that in and you can put measurements and you can focus in more than you can when you're live. So I really wanted to do more of a teaching, more of a tutorial so they could do it. So I would say beginner, probably not. Advanced beginner, absolutely, because you will learn a lot. There's a lot of different techniques in there.
Awesome. Another question for you is, what size will the block of the month quilt measure at?
The block of the month, and we had this discussion before, didn't we, Becca?
I think we did.
I think
And
we
I'm
did.
looking on the website to see if it's there. I
I
don't
think it's
see it yet.
56 by 44. So
Okay.
it's long by 44. So
So it's
yeah,
it's more designed to be decor, wall
yeah,
hanging, not necessarily, unless you want to lay it on your lap sideways. I guess
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, no, or put it on the back of a couch, or you
Yeah.
can, yeah, yeah, it's more of a decor. And that's true. I designed it kind of that way too, because it's a Christmas quilt. So, you don't want a huge king size quilt. You may, but because you're only going to put it up for a month or two, it's nice to have something that you can put up that's a wall hanging and then take it down and put another seasonal wall hanging up or something like that. So that's why I decided to do that. Yeah.
I love that. And you mentioned when we were talking before about your block of the month timeline, layout, all of that other stuff. You had mentioned that it's a 5-month block of the month, but you're going to do it in 4 because you want people to start it with enough time for you to cut the fabric, but also you want them to have it finished for Christmas. You want to talk about
Yes.
that timeline?
Yes. So I decided it is a 5-month block of the month. I decided to do it 4 because we're going to start in August. So if we do August for the first month, September for the second month, October for the third, and then November for the fourth. So if we did the 5th month, it would take us into December. And who has time in December to make a quilt or to finish a quilt? Yeah, not me. And it's the last block is actually just the finishing. So it's putting everything together and putting the borders on. And by the time you get your last block done, you're like, okay, I'm anxious to get this done. So I went ahead and we're just going to do it in the 4 months. I'll show you how to do the mitered corners or the other border, and you'll get it finished. And then you can have a quilter, or you can quilt it yourself and have it ready for Christmas.
There you go. There you go. I got to say, I have a wall hanging that I made for Christmas, and I absolutely am super excited to hang it up again this year. So it'd be nice to have a couple of them. I've got plenty of wall space to toss those up on. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I decorate for all the holidays. I love Halloween, but I also love Christmas. So I decorate, and I'm excited to get them up too. And the nice thing too, with the black and the green one, you can actually leave that on because there's really no Christmassy prints in it. It's more snowflakes and trees. So you can go ahead and leave that up longer than just for the Christmas season. I would leave it up. And you could even do that with, both of them.
It's winter themed. There's no ornaments, there's no angels, there's no Santas. It's winter themed. Now, I think the red and green one I might take down, but the black and green one, I feel like I could leave up a whole lot longer. You're right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I have a little snowflake quilt that I put on my table, and I leave that up from December to like March. And everybody's like, take it down. It's still snowing here.
Tiffany's in the chat. She wanted to say hi to you. So I
Hi,
wanted to help her out, make sure that you know she's there.
Nice.
Whenever you design a fabric line, we're going to talk more about the design process in a minute, because that intrigues me. And this was a whole big part of the conversation that we had. My jaw was just like this the whole time. I want to share some of that information. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to touch on something that's fun. It seems to me when you design a fabric line, you don't think about just the stripe in the border that you want to put out there, or the stripe print that you want, and the colors of the fabric that you're putting together. You also seem to curate a thread collection. And I have heard you now talk about this a few times. You want to talk about the thread collection?
Oh yeah, this is amazing. Aurifil and I have collaborated on a thread set. There we go. And it's awesome because I don't know I know you've used Aurifil thread, but if other people haven't, you have to give it a try. It is just the nicest thread. The reason I chose all those different colors too is that you can use it for everything in your quilt. You can use it for the applique, you can use it for the piecing, you can use it for quilting, everything, because Aurifil is such a great overall thread that you can use it for everything. And I actually just love it. And when I get this, and you saw the cover, when I got it, I'm like, this is so exciting. It goes with all my fabric.
I think I've talked to you about this a bit, and I feel like you are more excited about the thread collection than the fabric. I'm just saying.
That's not true. You should have seen when I got the fabric. I don't know. I just excited about it all. I just love it all. So
you have. You've been really excited about this for a while. I feel like every conversation we have had, it has been, wait till you see the Christmas fabric. Wait till you see the Christmas fabric. And the Christmas fabric is very nice, Monique. I love the colors. I love the design. I love the block of the month. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, because you teased a couple of pieces of information I want to make sure that people draw out. But before we do, I've got a burning question. You know what this question is. Gotta ask. I gotta ask. When the heck am I getting another Batik collection?
It's not going to be right away, but there will be one. It's just, with Batiks, there's a lot of different Batiks out there. So you have to have a unique perspective and do some different things with Batiks. So I will be doing one, but it's just not right away. But don't worry, I will get one. Yes.
I'm waiting.
I know you
sign
are.
me up right away.
When I first started designing fabric and quilting, I did not like Batiks. I was like, I don't know what to do with them. And then as I started doing more and growing in my quilting, I'm like, they're pretty cool. So I started using them, and I thought it would be kind of fun to design them. So that's where they came about. So yeah.
That is on my bucket list of things that one day I would love to say that I had a hand in. Like, yes. I don't know. For me, my Batik story started when I took my very first quilting class. So for those of you that might not have heard this story before, I don't think I've told you about it, but maybe you picked it up in a previous video. I started quilting by watching YouTube videos, and I wasn't getting things the way I should have. Like, my stuff wasn't turning out the way the YouTuber stuff was turning out at all. Right. And so I decided I wanted to take a quilt shop class, or a quilt class at my local quilt shop. So they made me take the beginning sewing class and then the quilting class, which I'm super happy I did that. Still feel like there's a lot to learn on YouTube, but for me, having somebody to talk to in person was groundbreaking for me. We made a quilt, and I remember agonizing over the fabric pull for that quilt. And I picked these shades of blues and some white, and I ended up gifting that quilt to my mother-in-law. But week number 2, when we all went in and showed our different blocks, this lady showed her fabric, and she was working with Batiks. My jaw hit the floor. I walked out of the classroom and did a fabric pull of Batiks and made a duplicate of the quilt. So in my beginning quilting class, I actually made 2, the printed cotton one and then the Batik one. And you know which one I fell in love with? The Batik one. Like, it was, I would equate that to be the way some people love Tula. They see Tula, they just love Tula. It's just Tula. For me, it's just Batiks. I can't get enough of them. There's something about the movement and the color and the visual interest, and all of that's there. And it can be a print, or it can be a solid or a blender. And anyway, enough said about those. I'm glad to hear that you said there will be one. It can't happen soon enough.
I know.
But I'm glad that you have that on your list of things to do.
I do. It is on the list, especially now after talking to you. I better
get one. God. You've already, it's already out in the interwebs, Monique. You've already promised. You locked it in. You better get started.
I better start thinking about it. That's funny.
It's funny. Like, I feel like Batik, I don't know a lot of people that are just lukewarm. They either love them or they despise them. It's it's like, yes, 100%, or no, absolutely never.
Exactly. And that's very true. But for me, it took a while, but now I absolutely love them. And I love all fabric. I really do. There's not many fabrics that I'm like, I can't do that, but I really love fabrics. And so we're in the right business if we do love fabric. It's perfect.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk a little bit more about that designing process, because this is the piece that I thought was really, really cool. Actually, before we do, you talked about tutorials. You talked
Yeah.
about, you said the words, my YouTube, and you said, my block of the month. I have not known you to be a content creator on YouTube. I knew you had the channel, but it wasn't very active. It sounds like you're starting to go in a different direction with that. You want to talk a little bit more about your YouTube channel?
Yeah. And I did a lot of, when I first started doing lives, I did a lot of Facebook lives, and
Yes.
we actually did it every Thursday night for, I think, 3 years. And it went really well. And then all of a sudden it dropped off. I don't know if Facebook did something or whatever it did. And so getting to know you and getting to know other YouTubers, we thought, you know what, let's try some YouTube. And I've been so busy doing all these other things that I really want to start concentrating on doing some more content. And I think YouTube is the perfect spot to do these tutorials, because there's so many people who look things up. And I'm guilty of that myself. I'm like, I need to learn something. I'll go on YouTube and I'll think, okay, what do I need to learn? And I'll look it up and watch videos. So it's the perfect spot for people who are wanting to learn to go to. So my YouTube channel is Open Gate Quilts. And I do, if you are a subscriber, I do a YouTube unboxing myself. I haven't in the last 2 months because of my broken ankle, but I have been doing them, and I will start that up again as soon as I'm feeling able to go up and down the stairs.
How is your ankle, by the way? I feel like if we talk for an hour and we just glance right over the ankle issue, I'm not doing you justice as a friend. How is your ankle doing?
It's doing better. It's much better. I'm sure not many people know, but we got a puppy. And the first week we got the puppy, I was taking her down the back stairs at night to go out to go potty. And I hit the one and landed on my other and broke it quite severely. So it's been basically 2 months of recovery, and had to have surgery. And yeah, it's been hard, but it's on the mend. Started physical therapy, so I'm starting to hopefully be able to start walking again.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
long, hard road to recovery, but I'm glad that you're doing better. We were supposed to meet up when I was in Chicago, but the mobility issues limited that, and my crazy schedule. So
yeah, it was rough. Yeah, and you were like, well, come in, you can meet and we can hang out. And you were waiting in line or something. I'm like, there's no way I can't stand in line for 5 minutes, let alone a couple hours.
Yeah, that whole weekend turned out to be so packed, and I still have to do my vlog on it, which is probably going to come out in a couple of weeks. This week I have a special video planned, so it'll be about a week and a half out. But yeah, it really was a lot. All right, so we don't need to talk about my weekend in Chicago. We're here to talk about you and your endeavors. So what I'm hearing from you is you're going to be leaning into more tutorials on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Your block of the month is going to be over there. And I know from our conversations a little bit of your history, but if somebody doesn't know you from Adam, why should they check out your channel? Why should they check out your tutorials? What sort of qualifications do you have for those tutorials? Let's talk a little bit about your history.
Okay, I've been quilting for probably around 34 years. And when I first started quilting, I saw quilts and I thought, I'm going to give it a try. Like you, tried it. That was it. I was done. I loved it. Yep. So I was working full time, and I went to my local quilt store and I said, do you need somebody to work on Saturday? And she goes, do you want to work on Saturday? I said, yes. So I started working at the quilt store. She got me into teaching. I fell in love with that. And then in 2004, I opened my business, Open Gate Quilts, and I had 5 patterns. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope I can keep going. Well, we're well over 200. So yes, I can keep going. And I just loved it. And so I was teaching. I do teaching. I've done a lot of teaching through guilds, and also at quilt stores. And I've written 6 books. I've designed 5 rulers. I'm on my 12th fabric line. So I've done a lot of it, and I just love quilting. I don't know if you can tell that. I just love
You
it.
do, you ooze it.
Yeah.
The takeaway is, even though maybe the tutorials might be new to your channel, the teaching aspect is not. This is something you've been doing for a while. You're just
Yeah.
taking it to a new medium. So
Yeah.
really
Absolutely.
excited to see those starting to trickle out.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I think it's going to be like a whole new avenue opened up that people will see that, Open Gate we've got lots of stuff. We got lots of things going. We're always doing something different. And the block of the month, new fabric lines, maybe sometime a book, another book, just, we're always thinking of new things that we can do. So
Yeah,
excited about it.
Yep. Awesome. Mark said, we all know Mark, Mr. Monique, said she's also been an editor for All People Quilt Magazine, Missouri Star, and Kim Deal. Wow.
Yeah.
Just like rolling in, Monique. Didn't know that. Mark's on the back end making sure that you super sell yourself.
Yes.
He's got to be your biggest cheerleader. He's always there.
He's the best.
Awesome.
He's awesome. He is awesome. He's always encouraging me, always excited about what I'm doing and stuff. And it was funny today. I texted him and I said, well, Becca and I are going to do live tonight. And he goes, oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, it is kind of awesome.
Love you guys. You're awesome. I love the team dynamic that you have too. Like whatever you're doing, he's always right there. I remember last year when we were doing some of those unboxings live and doing the project, for the couple of minutes before we did the live, he'd be there. You'd see his head like upside down.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's great.
He is. He's great. He's so encouraging. I don't know what I would do without him. He's just been amazing with this. So
we've got questions in the chat that we have to talk about. So the first one is, people want to know about your amazing subscription box. So we'll talk about that first.
Okay.
Let's talk about the monthly box.
Okay. So we started this in, 2020, and it was just right when right in the smack dab in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And all my classes, all my lectures, everything was being canceled because nobody was going anywhere. And I had been thinking about starting a subscription box for a while. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. So we started with 30, and now we're up to 300. And we are continuing to grow. We are not stopping. So we're not taking waiting lists. If you join, you join. We got you covered. The cool thing about our subscription box is that I do everything. I do all the designing. I pick all the fabric. I pick the notions. I do it all. And the reason I do that is that I love to design. So I will see a fabric line and see what inspires me, and I'll design that for the box. So basically every year I do 24 projects, because we have the large project and then we have the smaller project in the box. And so I design 24 projects for the box every month, plus the extra boxes that we do, right. The Christmas and the Halloween box. So,
which is new this year.
Yes, that's so exciting. The Halloween box.
We'll talk about those in a minute, but I want to touch on the monthly boxes that you're doing. I get this question all the time. People see me do a project or see the box open, and they want to know if they can get the pattern from the kit that was in your box.
Yes, that is a question, and I do get that. um, because I like to keep the patterns in the kits exclusive for the subscribers, what I do is I don't sell them for probably another 6 months to a year. And this is for my subscribers because they're getting the
Exclusive
fabrics and the
access.
kits and the exclusive. They get, I've been doing Zoom classes for them as well.
Yep.
So there's not only just a subscription box, you
Right.
get so much more. And I really want to keep that exclusive. Now, if you sign up for the subscription box and you're like, I really liked June's project, can I get that? I will give them that, but it's really for subscribers. It's not just for somebody who's just like, oh, I just want that pattern. We will eventually make a book or do something with it. But at this point, I'm so busy doing other things, it's hard to keep them all together. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I get that.
yeah. So, and it's really for my subscribers. I want them to feel like they're getting something special.
There you go. And you're not the
Yeah.
only one that's done that, by the way. If anybody
Yeah.
is familiar with a little company called Fat Quarter Shop, their subscription boxes, the patterns used to be in the box and you could buy them for $10 on their website, but now they market it in their box as a $10 value and you cannot buy it. It is exclusive to the box only. And there are no plans to make them available for sale, as far as I know, or I have heard at all down the road. So the fact
Mhm.
that yours are exclusive for a period of time, and maybe in the future they would be considered in a book or considered for purchase on the website, I think that's fair. It's your box, it's your decision. And
Yeah.
you are being fair and equitable by telling people that if they sign up for your box, which is 48, is that right?
42 plus shipping.
That's
So
it. That's
40,
it. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
So less than $50, you can get the previous patterns if you're looking for them.
yeah, yeah.
So in the monthly box, for those of you that don't know, you haven't seen Fallon, who is here, by the way, and says hi, or Tiffany's unboxing, or the ones that I've done, the boxes from Open Gates are really nice because you get a couple of things inside. First of all, everything is phenomenally packaged. Monique
Thank you.
believes so much in packaging. The first project is going to be a weekend sew type of project. It's going to have a color photo of what the finished project looks like, your pattern, and all of your fabric nicely curated down inside. Your second project is going to be a quick sew. This is something you can probably do in about a half an hour if you just sit down and work on it. It also has a color picture. I don't know if it has color picture, but it has your pattern, your fabric, whatever you need for that second project. And then you get a notion that Monique has picked out. You get either a bonus fat quarter or a pattern that Monique has written, one of those two. And you get a coordinating spool of thread that can work for both the big project and the small project. And it is only a small spool of Aurifil thread, but that small spool does way more than just what's inside the box. You would have enough thread on that spool to piece both of those, quilt both of those, and still have thread left over.
Yeah, Aurifil's, like I said, is amazing. But yeah,
Yep.
we've already gone through that.
Yeah, it is.
I love the Aurifil thread. So, but yeah, it's it is a great value, and you get, like I said, you get extra things too. The classes, sometimes even throw in a bonus. The other day I found something, I thought, let's see if these subscribers want this. So I threw that in, so there's other things that you can add that I can do. And, I try to make it personal. So, and so if people, if it's a holiday, I like to put a Christmas card in there and wish them a happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, or just something to let them know that I do appreciate everybody who is a subscriber.
Well, one of the things that I love is every February when my birthday rolls around, there's always an extra little thing in there that's wrapped in a little cellophane bag with a pretty little ribbon on it, and it's a birthday gift.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I thought that you were just doing that because we were friends, but I think you do that for everyone. You're like, oh, here you go, happy birthday.
Yep. It's fun. And that's part of the fun. And just like we talk about the Christmas box, we wrap every single gift, and I think it's exciting. And I always look at it as, would I like to receive it? And if I want it, then I know other people would want it, because
Yep.
I love all that stuff with the, my mom. It was funny. I'll tell you, my mom, she goes, who puts all that fussy stuff together? I go, I do. I like it. She goes, you have a lot of patience. I go, but I think it's cool.
So the Christmas box.
Yes.
Last year, I have had this question. I have skirted around the answer, but I'm going to break the news and just say it tonight. Last year, your Advent box was by far one of my top 2 favorite.
Oh, thank you.
I got like 5, and yours was right up there. It was the one that the only thing I didn't love about your box, and I'm being completely honest here, is it didn't have 25 packages. It only had 12. But it was there, even when the fabric that we got or a kit that we got wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. First of all, the value was there when you added everything up. But secondly, it felt like Christmas. Every single item was wrapped in wrapping paper. And you even made, I have mine right here because I use it. You even made everybody a little zipper bag in their favorite color. I put a little extra key zipper pull on mine, but you even made everybody a little something inside the bag, which I thought was phenomenal. The box was absolutely amazing. And
Thank you.
Last year you only had like 50 spots.
We did 60. Yes.
60. This year you're bringing it back. Talk to me about this year's Christmas box.
This year we've upped the number to 120, but we also are max on our list. So what I've done is I've taken 120 names, and whoever was on last year is automatically on the next year. And if they don't want it, not a problem. We have people who are on the waiting list. So we're doing 120. And then if anybody who wants it, just email me. I can put you on the waiting list. And it happens. People, having a rough time or just don't want it, no problem. We can add whoever they want, whoever we get on the waiting list, the first one will be asked, and then from there on. So we do have people drop, so no problems.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm really excited. You have 120 this year. That's
Yes.
double what you did last year.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just like, we're already wrapping, by the way.
I was gonna say, like, you wrapped 12 packages for 60 boxes. Like, I can't even do the math in my head right now because was that like 1,200 packages? I don't know. And you're doubling it. Okay, fine, whatever. You're doubling it this year. My goodness. Yeah. I love that you're stepping it up. You're doing more, but you're not sacrificing what made your box unique last year.
Yes. Yeah. And that's important to us. And it's like we're starting this year Halloween box. And it's the same thing. We limit it because we want to be able to add those special extra things in that other people don't, and I love making things, and making those bags was just so much fun because then I would think of the person I'm making it for. And yeah, it was really cool. And always look at too, if I'm making something, would I want it? And if I want it, then I know that someone else would probably want it too. So I
think this needs to be a tutorial on your YouTube channel, Monique.
Yeah,
this is a great idea. Look at me helping you make content.
There you go.
A tutorial for this bag.
That's right. Good idea.
So for the Christmas box, when does that, this is a question that I get all the time. And this year, and I'm going to spill the tea right now. I am not opening any Advent boxes on my channel this year. I am getting them. I hope. I'm not sure if I'm on the list for yours. I want to pay for it because I won't be doing anything with it for a business. So if I'm not already on the list, put me on the list and tell me about the things. But I'm getting two. This one, hopefully, and the Open Gate.
Oh yeah, you're on the list. You got
okay, good.
Yeah,
Those were going to be like, make sure you send me an invoice. I am not going to open any of them on my channel. There are so many other content creators out there doing unboxings. I don't want to duplicate what other people are doing. I want to be unique. I want to do something different here, right?
Right.
So I want to just get those for me and just enjoy them. And there was somewhere I was going with this. Oh gosh. What were we talking about before I went on that tangent?
We were talking
Wow.
spill the tea. Oh, that was
I think no, I don't remember.
squirrel.
It was horrible. It was horrible. Okay. So I remember. I was leading into the question which people are typing in the chat. So one of the questions that I frequently get, and I know Fallon probably gets them too, when you're opening those advent calendars in December, people are like, how do I get this box? How do I get notified when the box is going for sale? And the answer is, if you're watching the video, it's way too late, because usually those boxes go for sale in the spring, or by September, they are all sold. You can't get them anymore. So talk to us about your box. I know you've got 120 spots. When are you going to launch it officially for sale? When are you going to notify the people from last year, give them a chance to buy in? When does all of that happen?
That happens in August. So I send out to everybody who's on the list. They get first choice, and I give them a couple weeks. And sometimes I'll even send another one, because sometimes it goes into spam or something happens. So I will send that out. And then if there's any spots, then I will go to the waiting list. If there's any spots after that, which I doubt this year there will be, then I'll just send it out to my general newsletter. I always go with my people who are on the list first, the waiting list, and then out to the newsletter. So it's the same thing with the Halloween box, which went for sale in May. I sent it to everybody who had been requested. And then I sent in the second one, and then I sent it out to my general mailing. And then now I think I maybe have 1 or 2 spots left for the Halloween box. So, and I imagine that it's going to happen again next year, that whoever's on the list, and then a waiting list after that. So
what I'm hearing from you is, if you are interested in the Open Gates Christmas box, your first thing to do right as soon as this live is done, or this replay is done, depending on how you're watching this, is go over to Open Gates website. The website will be linked in the description box below. If you're watching live, you can do exclamation OGQ in the chat. You'll get the link to it. Add yourself to the waiting list right now. Chances are, this is just me guessing, this is what I would forecast. She has 120 spots, right? Very few of those will probably make it to the waiting list, and there will be none left after it's offered up to the waiting list. So if this is something you're interested in, you need to act quickly, get your name on that waiting list, and sit by your email box in August to see what's available. And maybe next year, I mean, last year you did 60, this year you did 120. Maybe you start wrapping in October for next year so that you can have 240. I don't know.
Right. Get ahead of the game. It's all of ordering and making sure I get enough of everything. And so we're looking at all times for Christmas and Halloween and for the box. And so, we're always searching for some cool different things too. So this year will not be any different. There's I'm excited about a lot of the different things that we have planned for both boxes. So,
and both boxes, we've said this a couple times now, this is a first. This year is the first year you've done it. Halloween box.
Yes. I had a Halloween shirt on before I got on here today. I love Halloween. It's June, but I'm dreaming of October.
It's hilarious because I'm dreaming of October for other reasons that might involve Danny, Donnie, Jonathan, Jordan, and Joe. A boat.
I get it.
I'm thinking of October for the new kids cruise. You're dreaming of it for
Well, this is how it kind of ended up, because There's not everybody that loves Halloween, which, you know, I understand. And we would put a Halloween themed subscription box. And I had a couple of people just say, you know, if you do have one, can I not get it? And I was like, okay. So I had enough people that I was like, okay, I'm just not going to do a Halloween box. But then my friend Sue, who also works with me, she's like, well, then you need to do a Halloween box because we need Halloween. And I'm like, I know we do. So she loves it as much as I do. So that's when that one came about, and we're like, well, we'll just do a separate one. And that Christmas one did so well, we thought, well, we'll give this one a shot. And yep, so now we're doing the Halloween one too. So, and it's not as extensive as the Christmas one, but there is a large project, a smaller project, some extra goodies that we're putting in there. And so there'll be some different things too on that one too. So yeah.
I think I would probably be squarely in the camp that if the October box features a Halloween project, please skip me.
Yeah.
I don't have any, like, I'm not into it like you are, but I know Ian is, and I think you are working with Fallon and Ian both to do unboxings for that.
Yep. They are. Awesome. We got them. Yep, they're on the list, so they're getting one to. Yep. So that's awesome. Yeah, you got me connected with Ian. I'm excited about him trying, and of course Fallon's awesome too. So
of course, and Fallon's in the chat, so Fallon can drop the link to her channel in the chat if anybody wants to check that out. I did just do the command for Ian. If you're watching this on the replay, I'll link both of their channels in the show notes down below. You can check them out. And by the way, Fallon and Chris O'Neill from So the Distance and I are going to do a live collab Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm really excited about that. So you guys are going to want to tune in to see what we've got up our very short sleeves. It's going to be a lot.
Fun.
Yep. Let's see. We talked about your boxes. We talked about your new fabric line. We talked about leaning into teaching more on YouTube. We talked about how you're designing block of the months and all those fun things. But the one thing we didn't talk about, which was a large part of our conversation, is fabric design. This is the piece that I was most intrigued by when we talked on Zoom last week. It feels like there are a number of industry personalities that are starting to dabble in the world of design. And some of them might not have even been in the industry. The guys over at So Yeah Quilting now have their second fabric line. They had Not Your Mama's Garden, and now they have Not Your Mama's Garden too. And I feel like they design for Maywood Studios just like you do, but I don't quote me on that. There's Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch designing fabric for Moda. Like all of this seems to be either I am just paying attention to it because it intrigues me and it's always been the case, or there's this push of new designers coming in. I wanted to know what's it like to design fabric? What's that process look like?
Everybody has a different process, but my particular process is I look for a lot of inspiration. So I look at Pinterest, I look in nature, I look at tiles, I look at carpets, I look at wrapping paper, I look at all those different things, and I often start with color. So color is very inspirational for me. If I look at color and I think, ooh, that just doesn't go, or if I look and I go, wow, that's really cool, it starts me thinking, how can I use those colors in design? And so I will start gathering inspiration with the different colors, gathering my color inspiration, and then I'll sit down and I actually draw in Adobe Illustrator all my pieces. So I draw my flowers, I draw the trees, whatever I'm doing, I do it in there. And I'm really good with the mouse. It really is good. I can't really draw with a pencil, but I can definitely do it with the mouse. And the nice thing about these programs is they are there to help you. So if you've ever tried to draw a straight line or even a curved line with a mouse, it goes kind of wonky. Well, there's ways in Illustrator to make it go smoother. You can smooth it, or you can even make that line smooth by changing a few things. It's really very user-friendly once you get learning how to do that. So that's how I do it. And I put my colors in Illustrator. I do everything in Illustrator. And then backgrounds I do in Photoshop, and kind of place those illustrations on in Photoshop. And then once I get all that done, then I send it to my art director, and we discuss different things. And we also talked, you and I, Becca, we talked about when I'm designing a fabric line, I also design quilts with it.
Yes.
And this is really important. And this is, to me, one of the most important things, because the reason I'm designing a fabric line is for a quilt. So I want to make sure that I have different scales, different hues, different sizes of print, different like tone on tones, and busier prints, because when I'm designing a quilt, I need all those things to make the quilt look good. And we also talked about, yes, you can make quilts out of solids, you can make quilts out of busy fabrics, but that's not the kind of quilter I am. I need all those different things. So as I'm designing the fabric line, I design quilts as well. So I can see, okay, I have too many big prints, or I have too many tiny prints. I need to add some different, or I need more backgrounds. So it really helps me as a designer to make a complete line, so that many people can make many different quilts out of it, not just one or two. So it's really important to me, and that's how I design, is quilts as well as fabric at the same time.
That's awesome. It's so funny because I remember the takeaway from our conversation for me was you got into designing fabric because you couldn't find the fabric you wanted for the project you wanted to make. So you decided to make your own fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, that's great. And my next question to you, you talked about this a little bit. You're really good with drawing with a mouse. We talked about that a little bit too. I just had it in my head that if you were going to design fabric, you had to be an awesome illustrator, graphic artist. You had to be able to draw with like pen and paper, because I know like Tula Pink is very talented in that area, and she does a lot of hand sketching. But I thought every fabric designer was drawing their elements on their own. And what I learned from you is that's actually not the case. Do you want to talk about what it looks like when you're drawing elements for your fabric?
Well, it's true. There's a lot of different ways designers do their designing. The traditional way of pen and paper. I do it on the computer because I learned how to do that. Now, it did take me a while to learn how to actually do that on the computer. It's just like anything you're learning, just like quilting. You're not going to be an expert right away, but it's time and it's practice. And if you really love it, you're going to do it. So that's kind of how I learned how to do it. Everybody has a different way. I think if you do it on the computer, it might be easier for the companies, because then they don't have to take the drawings and put it on the computer. It's already in the computer, and they have like one step faster in doing it. So, and it really depends on the artist on how they do it. So
Just breaking news. Sounds like your Halloween box kit is now sold out.
okay, all right, there we go.
And Mary's saying, I don't see a waiting list either. So maybe
Mary,
she can email you.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And Mark will Mark, if you could drop the email address in the chat, that would be great. So awesome. Well, congratulations on
Well,
selling
thank you. Excellent.
So, when we were talking about designing fabric and building out other things, I reached for my mouse pad because this was the other part of the conversation that we started to have about how it was different to design fabric for fabric that's screen printed, like your traditional cotton, and fabric for batiks. And you had mentioned that in a lot of ways, it's actually easier to design for batiks, which in my head means you should release another batik line sooner because
because
it's
it's so
easier.
much easier.
What does that process look like to design batiks? Like I know how batiks are made, but
Right.
what does the design process look like?
Well, like we talked about, actually batiks are a lot of fun to design because everything you design actually in black and white, which is interesting because
They're so colorful.
Yeah, there's so much color in batik, but the color comes when they actually make the batiks because they do all the over dyeing and the waxing and all that stuff. Right. So a batik, when I design, is like a 10-inch square because they stamp the fabric and it has to have the repeat. So I do a 10-inch square. And when you do that, it's the same as doing any other kind of fabric. You want bigger scales, you want smaller scales, and you design in black and white. So if you're doing a star, you can do a star that has lines, or you could do a filled in star. Right. So you have different things that you can add. And then we also talked about with the batiks, the color is really what makes the different scales. And so if you look at the cloud fabric.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get you the overhead here.
There you go.
Switch to that camera because I remember this was the example that we used. Spoiler alert, there may be a very specific quilt covering my legs that I am also trying to hide. I told Monique, okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, oh no, did they see that quilt? Tune in on Tuesday.
That's right.
So let me switch my camera to that overhead shot and you can talk through what you were talking about. Just give it a second. I don't know why. Hello? Is it frozen for you?
It is frozen for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's weird. Okay, fine. I'll come back. Hi.
There you go.
Whoa, that's a horrible picture. Hey,
what happened?
Holy cow.
There you go.
Okay, let me see if I can get the overhead shot working now. No, don't know. Okay, it's completely frozen. I need to reboot my switch. So what I'll do, let's go this way and I will hold it.
Oh, there you go.
All right, talk to us.
All right, so if you look at the different fabrics there, let's look at the cloud fabric first. If you look at the cloud fabric, you've got quite a bit of dark and light in there. So if you wanted to make that more of a tone on tone, instead of using a dark blue and a light blue, you would use more like a medium and a lighter medium blue. So now you're getting a totally different look using the same print. And that's how they make batiks so different, is because they can do that. You can do 3 colors that are closer together as opposed to doing super contrast fabric. And so that's what's so interesting, I think, about batiks, is that it's the exact same print, but you can have it look totally different depending on the colors that you use. So designing it isn't the difficult part. It's the getting the colors to be the way you want it to be and how to make it look completely different. Yeah, it's just, to me, they're just so rich and so fun too. So
it's so funny because like this orange one, I believe, is similar, at least, maybe even the same stamp, but it's a tone on tone.
Right.
Whereas this one has got a lot more of that contrast. And like even with the starburst, this blue one where my finger is right here,
right.
It's kind of like a firework, and down here it's blues and purples, and so it has a totally, and here is the yellow, right?
Yeah.
Same block print.
Yeah,
but different color.
Yes, and that's what's so exciting and so beautiful about batiks, is that you can do so much with just the color alone, and loving color so much that just excites me because it is so cool.
Yeah, this I'm not putting up, like I am not blowing smoke. My favorite fabric line still to this day is Dusk to Dawn.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like, Monique, my jaw hit the floor when I saw this, when you released it last year, when I saw the imagery. and I hoarded so much of that fabric. I have paid some of it forward to Tiffany. She's got a couple of kits with that fabric. I have a quilt that I have made with white and this fabric. That's all I put in it. It's using the Atomic Starburst pattern from Violet Craft. I need to get that quilted. I cannot wait to have that done. And I still have 2 jelly rolls for this. And I think I want to turn it into a Bargello.
Oh, yeah.
Just haven't done it yet. I know you have patterns on Bargello, but I want to do the flag one.
Oh, yeah.
Different. But yeah, I love this line. I love the colors. I love the prints. I love everything about it. So much so, you remember that sunrise kit that you gave to us with this fabric? I made that. I put it was on display at my Quilt Guild's local show, but it is now hanging above my bed.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Fallon says, I have a kit of it. I just don't want to cut it because it's so beautiful, right? It's really pretty. It's really pretty. I think the thing that was really interesting, the one thing that I took away from the designing the batiks was really what you're focusing on as a designer is that print element that you want on there. You're drawing that in black and white and you're passing that off to make that wax stamp. And then they're adding in the color afterwards. For the color element, do you get to have a say in the color values, or do you just say make a blue one?
No, you do, because you want to, there's a couple ways. When I first started doing it, my art director, she would just get a whole bunch of them in and pick from them. My current art director gives more direction, and we discuss what colors we want. We discuss what combination we want so that we have more control. And then they will do a bunch and then we can eliminate some, because sometimes they'll put colors in that you didn't ask for and you're just like, it doesn't go. So, like they put a brown in and you're like, that doesn't go with the, the bright batik. So yeah, it's just kind of, you can direct them more, and so you have a better direction on how things will go. But you definitely have a color palette, and this was dusk to dawn, so we had all the colors, that went from there.
The whole thing. It's sunrise, sunset, doesn't matter. It's great. It's awesome.
And it was so cool to see the progression, because when she got the swatches in, she laid them out so I could see how the progression is, because they do more than you need. So you can, because you don't, sometimes you're just like, that just doesn't fit, or that looks great, or we need something else. So when we saw the progression from dusk to dawn, I was like, this is amazing. It actually gave me shivers. It was pretty cool.
It's great. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm so happy that you did this. Is there ever a chance that this would be re-released?
That you would have to ask Maywood. I do not know if they would. Yeah.
Oh, please, Maywood. I just need more. I just need more. I need 1 yard of every single one of these fabrics. Thank you. Hey, let's talk about that. You're a fabric designer. You design your fabric. It hits the market. It comes out. What do you keep? What do you order for your shelves? For your fabric lines, what do you do?
I do always cut myself a fat quarter bundle. So I have a fat quarter bundle of every single line that I have. I make a lot of quilts out of my fabric. So, I'm doing the 2 block of the months. I have another one. We do the ones for the boxes, all that stuff. Ooh, I just slipped a little bit. The Christmas box. So I do a lot. So I don't keep a lot extra because I've used a lot of it. So I don't, but I definitely have a fat quarter of every single piece of fabric I've ever designed. So it's kind of cool to see them all. Yeah.
Yeah. And fat quarter is really good because I feel like you'll get a good visual representation of that fabric.
Yeah. And I'll never use them. They're just there for me to see and remind me of the different ones. And One of the things that I do, and we didn't really even talk about this on Saturday, but one of the things I love about Maywood is they do let me try different things, because I can design batik lines, I can design traditional. I just did a Christmas line, which, yeah. So it's awesome to have that creative license to try different things and not be pigeonholed, like you always do batiks or you always do this kind of line.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so great for my creativity, because then I can do different quilts too, because if you do the same thing over and over, your quilts are going to start looking the same too. So it's nice to be able to try different things and do different things. So I really appreciate Maywood Studio in that regard. They really are very good about letting me try different things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so last question for you, because we are right at an hour. If is there anything that, sorry, I'm trying to get something up and running over here. Is there anything that you have coming up that you can share with us? Any behind the scenes, any tidbits, any secrets you can share about what you might be working on in the future?
I really can't talk about anything.
So what I'm hearing is, yes, there is stuff, but you can't talk about it right now.
That's right, pretty much. It's all hush hush.
But
just know that there's always something new coming up. I'm trying different things. I'm looking at what we can do next. And, that's one thing, because I have been quilting for a long time, is how do you keep yourself excited and how do you keep yourself in? And that's just trying different things, doing like the YouTube, or doing a different fabric line than I have in the past, or trying different quilts or different techniques. So the subscription box has given me a whole new life. It's all different challenges and keeps me excited about quilting. So there is always something we're looking at, something different to try. And so there'll always be something new that we're doing.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. It's been an hour, Monique. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for chatting with me live. And I'll just say it, saving me the pain of trying to edit that chat we had last week.
I know. I felt so bad for you, because I know how it is.
I did. I was so happy that you're like, yeah, we can chat tonight. That'll be totally great. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Excellent.
All right. What's coming next from Monique? Just recapping for you. Make sure to get on the wait list for the Christmas box. Those announcements will be going out in August if you're looking to get onto our Christmas box. The monthly subscription boxes are still available. If you go over to the website, you can check that out. You can also shop some other fun things. Make sure to subscribe to Open Gate Quilts YouTube channel. Lots of content coming that way, to include some fun tutorials for some bags and a block with Christmas fabric. And I think that's it. If you're interested in the wait list for the Halloween box, also email her. It is sold out now. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Don't forget the block of the month. We're doing the
block of the month.
Yep, there's kits available on the website. The thread as well is available, and that starts in August. The kits will go out in July, crossing our fingers, and we'll get going on that. So we'll have tutorials on our YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, and we'll have lots of new stuff coming.
Yep. If you're watching this on the replay, all of those links will be in the show notes down below. So make sure to check them out. Thank you for chatting with me. Thank you. Thank you for chatting with me, Monique, and I'll see you later.
All right. Thanks, Becca.